Hello everyone, welcome to the Brando 211 Tech Channel. Today we're going to talk about rural internet choices. You live out in the country, farm fields, and you don't have access to cable, DSL, or fiber. What do you use? Um, I live in central north Indiana. I live about 9 miles from the outer rim of South Bend and 14 or so miles from downtown, and those type of internet sources, cable, DSL, fiber, are not in the area. I've lived here for 30 years, and during those 30 years it was about the time the internet was born, and so I've dealt with this my entire life. It started off with 56K modem, and phone lines could barely do 9600 baud. I kept calling, pestering the phone companies, and they're like, we're doing the best we can. They got me up to like 11.6, 12, was it 12.8? Was pretty much the majority of my connection speeds. As time went on, I got it up to like 16.8 and even 21.6, but that was it. And I even would get a second phone line and shotgun the two modems together, as they called it, and I still couldn't get 56K. So, phone lines are terrible. They're definitely not going to stand up to DSL or anything, any internet over telephone lines. At that point, I think my first broadband experience was satellite internet. I went with Directway at the time. Super expensive. Download speeds were okay. Upload speeds were terrible. And then data cap. I'd get 2 weeks into the month, and I'd use up all my data, and they would drop me down to modem speeds. Dial-up speeds. Not to mention I was paying tons of money. It was over $100 a month. It was like 125, I think, or even 150. Was it 170? This has been 17 years ago when I was using satellite. So that's not a great option. And if you watch anybody and talk about rural internet and using satellite modems, they're going to say the same thing. Terrible. My parents are currently using it, and they get to the end of their data and they have to buy another package, so they're paying twice that. They're paying like $200 a month for data services, and it's just not very good. So I went with I saw some signs on telephone poles, and it said this company that was in the area that had high-speed internet, and to call their number. So I called their number, and they ended up having what was called a point of view internet, or wireless internet. It's basically they put a receiver, on your roof, and they point it at a tower, and it has to be within 10 miles to get decent service. Luckily for me, I landed within 3 miles of their tower, which is their inner circle, which means there's probably a real good chance that I have sustainable internet. So I went with them and had them for 17 years. In the beginning, they offered 1 meg down, 1 meg up, and but it was consistent. There's no data caps, and I used it, and it worked well for me. Now, again, this is 17 years ago. This was before streaming was a big hit, before YouTube. Basically, I played a few online games and surfed the internet, and it worked great for that. Well, in the beginning, there were some hiccups. I'd drop some pings, drop some internet. It'd kick me out of a game once in a while, or my the lag, the ping would be kind of high. But for the most part, it worked. It allowed me to live rurally and still do things that everyone else did that had access to cable. But as times grew, so did the need for higher speeds. I called them at one point to see if they had any packages above 1 meg, and they did. So I had a 4 meg consistent down for a couple years. That got me to where I could stream YouTube pretty regularly. It wasn't too bad. Did Netflix on that for a long time. But finally had a girlfriend move in with me, and with the two of us doing stuff simultaneously, it was either we watch Netflix or one of us does YouTube and doesn't touch the internet, because if both of us were trying to do something, it just couldn't keep up. So I called up the price that I was paying and got a 8 meg consistent, and that worked out better. But now we're paying close to $70 a month for 8 megs, and it's not great, but it was working. Pandemic hit, started working from home. I'm logged into work, she's logged into work. I'm using a phone over the internet, and it was struggling to get through each day. So I kind of started looking around, and actually a friend of mine hit me up because he lives on the outskirts of South Bend, and he has DSL, but it wasn't great. It was like 4 or 6 meg consistently, and he was looking for higher speeds like I was. And so he says, hey, T-Mobile is offering an LTE home internet source. They're saying 50 megs down for $50 a month, no data cap. And I'm like, LTE cell phone internet, no data cap for $50 a month. Because you guys have probably all looked, Verizon, Sprint, they all have data packages that are near $100 a month, but you're capped at like 70 or 50. Actually, it was 50 until the pandemic, and then it went to 70. And so I'm like, how skeptical, right? So he orders it and gets it in, and he sets it up, and immediately he's getting 30 meg, 40 meg, 50 meg download speed tests coming back, and it's consistent. And I'm like, okay, maybe it's time for me to try. So I hopped on T-Mobile's website, and I'll put the link in the description below. I ordered it. It comes in about a week, I think the modem came. And so it comes, T-Mobile sends a little LTE modem. It's got wireless built in, 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi connectors for your old and new devices. And sure enough, I connect it, and I'm leery because I'm way more rural than my friend is. And so I'm setting it up in a house, and I'm getting 8, 10 megs down. I'm like, bummer. Then I move it outside, just beyond my house, and boom, 60, 70 down. I'm like, holy cow! Am I dreaming? And so I ended up putting the modem in my garage, which is on the outside wall, and running an Ethernet cord into my basement, into my router. And today I get 50 megs, 40 megs down consistently, and anywhere from 2 to 7 megs up, and it's more near 7 megs up. I'm in my 4th month of using it, and it's been consistent the entire time. It doesn't have any of the issues that some of the other wireless, the point of view internet that I was using for 17 years. If the skies got dark, or if it rained heavily, I would lose, or if it was super foggy, I would lose internet connectivity. And this just doesn't drop. It just continues to go. It's like your cell phone. You'll always have signal if they're pumping it out. So I canceled my 17-year subscription to the Point of View wireless internet, and it was sad because it's a small company, local company that's putting up all these towers to get people internet, and it worked. It worked well, and the longer they used the technology, the better it got. But T-Mobile is just hitting it out of the park with these LTE home internet devices that they're sending out to people. And apparently the modem I've got is 4G, and they're already working on getting 5G modems sent out to people, from what I've read. With if you're in an area that's got 5G, I couldn't even imagine what 5G is. Now, I live rurally, and the tower, I think the closest T-Mobile tower is 4 or 5 miles away, and I've got about two bars of, of signal strength, and I'm getting consistently 40 to 60 meg down every time I hit speed test, and 2 to 7 meg up every time I hit the speed test. Like, it's never not been there. A couple times it's been in the 30s, but again, 30 would allow 3 or 4 people to stream YouTube at the same time, and I'll tell you, I've tested it too. I had a TV turned on with Netflix. I had a computer turned on with ESPN.com streaming a basketball game. I had YouTube running at full high definition 1080p quality, and I had like a smartphone or something streaming YouTube all at the same time. That's like 4 to 5 devices streaming HD TV, and not a single one of them buffered or stopped. So the T-Mobile home internet is for real. And maybe I'll do just a video on just the T-Mobile home internet. Give you some screenshots and stuff of the speed test just to solidify my statements. So yeah, now I will say you have to go to their website and you have to see if you're eligible if you're in an area that has their signal. My parents live like 12 miles away from me, but they're even more rural than I am. And I took my modem over to their place, and I couldn't get a bar anywhere. In a corner of their office, I got 1 meg down. So if you're like down in a gully covered in trees, and they have no cell service to begin with. Like, they miss 75% of my phone calls when I call them. There's no. So that's the only downside. If you were super far out where there's no cell towers, then this is not going to be a good option for you. But if you do have 2 to 3 bars on your cell phone and have pretty okay coverage with your phone, you're going to probably have pretty good speeds with this, at least enough to get away from some of the other types of internet that are out there. And $50 a month. It's $55 a month if you pay the bill every month. If you have it direct deposit, if you have it direct coming out of your account, they take $5 off, so it's $50 a month. Again, this is my 4th month, and there's no data cap. And I grilled the guy on the phone when I started. I was like, I know these LTE devices, they've got data caps. He's like, no data caps. I'm like, are you going to move forward with data caps? Because if you are, I'm just going to go back to my old internet because I use a lot of data. I don't have cable TV. I don't have dish TV anymore. So anything that we watch on TV is streamed either through Netflix, Disney Plus, Hulu, or YouTube. And so my last 3 monthly bills, so to speak, that I've gotten in the mail, I've used 375 gigs one month. I used 290 gigs another month. I used another 380 gigs this last month. Actually, I've got the bill right here. $50 a month. Although it's probably backwards, but you can at least see it. You can see it's T-Mobile. 373.72 gigs of data per month. That's what I used last month. So, pretty happy. So I wanted to bring that to everyone's attention, give some hope out there. Hop on their website. Again, I'll put the link down in the description below. And click on it, take you over to the site, see if you're eligible. If you are, there's no modem fees or there was a $20 setup fee. So to get started, there's a $20 setup fee, and then the $50 a month. So $70 your first month, and then $50 there on after. It's not too bad to test and try, right? And if you don't have it, as long as the modem is in working order and you send it back to them, there's no charge for the equipment. Is what they said anyways. So yeah, so thanks for watching, and I hope this helps you with your internet needs. Everyone have a good day, and we'll catch you next time.